Our PGW MVP. PGW MVP is Jalen Carter. Man, oh Manischewitz, he really was. Blocked PAT and a sack in his return from 3 weeks away because of his shoulder issues. Had a quarterback hit, pass defense, blocked kick. First game back since November 28th.
Should have one more sack.
Jalen Carter, you right, penalty erased.
Good to have him back.
He sure is.
I don't know if they win this game without him.
Here, we talked about that pregame too. Let's hear from Jalen Carter postgame.
Our D-line work, and we were just chilling. I think me and JD took a lap around the field. And we was watching the kicker and seeing low and then high, and then depending on where he was at. So that is something I look at slightly, and just go from there. We'll tell the guys D-line who's with me what I seen on before the game, and that's what we do.
What some research into it?
I ain't seen nothing today. What you said?
There was some research into it.
Oh, yeah, a little bit, a little smarts.
What did you see in the two-point conversion? Huh? The two-point conversion at Tampa Bay, what did you see?
The old lineman at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my dog, man. It was a good matchup. Knew how we was going to play it all day. I knew I had a lot of run blocks against him. Just good talk with him.
Yeah, on your sack, how you kind of tossed him out of the way at the end. Is that something you could have done before your shoulder, cleaning that up? I mean, did you feel like the strength was back there?
I got there pretty fast, and I was kind of shocked, but I had to make sure I didn't miss that tackle. So I kind of stayed up and just went to the side just in case he ducked real low and he was able to stay up, and I could just turn around and go back and get him again. But, yeah, that's just how it went. Yeah.
Is that something you kind of know facing a big quarterback like Allen, that you're going to have to be strategic in how you bring him down?
Mm-hmm. Because I played him my rookie season, and I had a rush while I got back there, but I didn't make the play, and he was just still standing there. I'm like, golly. But, yeah, he's just a tall quarterback. He know how to stand in that pocket and scramble, get around, but I just got him down that play.
On the two-point conversion, can you take us through that play a little bit?
Man, defense, we just want to stop. We know the game not over. This is the game decision right here, and I guess we got a little rush to get the ball out, and our DBs played their role, and they ain't catch the ball. Yeah.
They sure did. They sure did.
Pretty simple. They didn't catch the ball.
They didn't. We were talking while we were listening to that Braden Mann, the punter. And it's rare that we single out a punter, but he averaged 55 yards on 7 punts, Braden Mann.
He's been a beast all year, really since he got here last year. He's so consistent. He's so good. His inside the 20 to touchback ratio, I know that's a big stat that Jaws likes, but it's off the charts. I mean, he's so good.
He flipped the field a bunch of times. Now, flip the field means, he punted it so far that they had gained an advantage when they punted to us and put us deep into our where we're supposed to be at. Then he turned around, he 3 and out, and then he punted it and got us right back on track. He had a great game.
If Cam Latu didn't have brain lock at the 1 yard line.
Cam Latu. The ball was sitting there on
Cam, though. He's my hero, too.
I like Cam. He's playing well on special teams.
He did, man.
You can't like that play, though.
I don't know what it is with special teams.
What are you going to gain by touching the ball there? You have nothing to gain.
Everyone on special teams wants to be the guy that downs the ball.
Why?
They don't touch the ball enough. The guys that play, they're like, dude, I can get to touch the ball.
They don't even. It's not even a stat.
Something in their contract,
I don't know. He's got an incentive.
What happens as a result of that in meetings afterward?
You get dog curse right there. Because
on the flight, probably.
That's the only time where a kicker has the license to curse an actual player out. And that situation is that the kicker come up to you like, hey, dude, what are you doing? You're messing up my average here. I got a 20-yard punt now because of you.
Kills his net.
There goes my net.
Yeah, it's amazing that he did that, but it worked out for the Eagles. In a moment, we're going to hear from Nick Sirianni. We're going to hear from Jalen Hurts, more defensive players as well, as this defense is an absolute beast to try to get past. If you are Buffalo or any other team, the Eagles now 11-5 on the season, and they still have an opportunity for the number 2 seed with a win next week and 2 Bears losses beginning tonight. Here's Nick Sirianni postgame in Buffalo.
Even in games like that where offense probably wasn't as well, you still come out with a win. How do you feel after that?
You got to give yourself points when you win football games. There's always things to clean up when you come out of a football game, but if you come out of a football game where you win on the road again in a hostile environment, man, they got really good fans. against a really good football team that's had the sustained success that we have. Like if you come out of this and you're just thinking about all the negative things that happen, that makes for a miserable existence. We'll get there. We'll get to what we need to clean up, and really good first half by the offense, not a great second half, and a lot of different reasons why. I'm never gonna. Winning's hard in this league, and I'm always gonna enjoy a win. And then I'm going to be really hypercritical on myself first and foremost, and then the rest of the guys after that, and the coaches. So you feel great.
What does it mean to the defense to have Jalen Carter back?
Yeah, huge. He's a big time player. Just a big time player who makes big plays. I mean, you saw it, right? Big sack. We did a good job of getting after Josh Allen, who's. I have the utmost respect for Josh Allen. He is a phenomenal player. Obviously, the league voted him MVP last year, so I'm stating the obvious. But the pressure he was able to put on the blocked extra point was huge. I actually, as we went through some of the highlights afterwards, I forgot to mention it, and that was a huge play, because then they're kicking a field goal or an extra point to win the game at the end, instead of going for 2 to try to win. And so, yeah, huge to have him back. He did a great job of taking care of himself and getting himself ready to go, and it's huge to have him back and involved in that defense.
There's been a couple of splash plays on special teams this season in particular. What does it say about him that he still makes an impact in that phase of the game?
Relentless in everything that he does. Relentless effort. Not just on the defense where he gets paid to be, relentless on defense, but then also the force that he can be on special teams, right? To block 3 kicks in a year is big deal. And him and Jordan Davis and Brandon Graham and Morrow, they do a good job of getting push in there. And we knew that kicker kicked it low, and he kicked it low on that one. And he got his hand up and big time play. And so it just speaks to the shape that he's in. All our guys are in. I said to the defense, the way they were pursuing, we knew Josh Allen could continue to extend plays. And the way we pursued to the ball showed how good a shape they're in. It showed how relentless they are. I tell them, I always say, hey, talented teams that play with great attention to detail, which we have some things to clean up, that play together and play with relentless effort, those teams are hard to beat. And, so relentless.
You mentioned there were some issues on offense in the second half. What comes to mind first?
I think it's multiple things. Obviously this has happened to us before, this season. We have to do a better job of helping them be in positions to succeed. I got to help. I put it on myself. I got to help, with some things that I know we want to get called. Kevin did a good job in that first half, but I got to help in that second half a little bit, getting some things that we want to get called there. And then, in execution, it's everything, right? And so, obviously, I'm not going to get too much into it. I have some thoughts, and we'll go back and look at it. But a lot of things that we can do differently and better there in the second half.
And that's for those 5 drives, you guys ran twice first. You ran on first, the second down and passed. I know collectively you and I are looking at it that way, but you feel like you got too predictable.
No, I don't think there. I think that, obviously it's something that we got to mix in some of the play action things that we've done so well in the last couple weeks and not wait there. Again, that's on me. I know what the first play is going into every series, and so we got to do some different things there. We hit some good runs there in the first half. It wasn't hitting the same way, so we had to change. I should have done a better job there in that particular case to change some approaches there. But just pumped to get out of here with a win. This is like I said, this is a hostile place. Maybe the last game that they play. I think the last game that they play home next week. Yeah. Well. I'd like to be the last one, but this place, believe it or not, I never went to a football game here. I went to a high school game here. I watched a high school game here. I think I watched Jamestown play Orchard Park back in 1999 with I think Craig Swanson was the Jamestown quarterback. Aaron Leeper was the the running back. Nate Millen was some of my friends there that we went and see.
Jamestown win?
Jamestown, I can't remember. I was just bummed that we didn't play. I think I dropped a big pass in a game against Springfield on fourth down that allowed us not to get into the playoffs. So that's why I'm so obsessive about fundamentals. I think I took my eye off the ball. But I had never seen a game here unless it's been a coach in this one. But so a lot of history here. I've worked with Pete Metzlers. I've worked with Frank Reich. I love those guys. So a lot of history here, and cool to get out of here with a win because there's a lot of history here in this stadium. And even though I didn't grow up a Bills fan, a lot of near and dear things to my heart.
To take you back off Jeff's question, if not predictable, it's maybe conservative, especially given you lost a couple of 2-score leads in the fourth quarter earlier in the season against Denver and Dallas. Do you think it was too conservative at the end of the game?
Like I said, I need to do a better job there in that second half. I didn't do a good enough job. So I'm always going to look at myself first and foremost. I wouldn't say I don't know. I got to look at it. I got to look at the tape. We weren't in a mode of saying, "Hey, 13-0 is enough." Not against this quarterback. Not against this offense. And so I don't think our mindset was ever that. But again, I got to do a better job there in that scenario, and I'll put that on myself.
I'll
get you.
In the process of doing a better job, you were talking about how you had to get more involved. Does that happen in real time when the play is called by Kevin, or do you go back to him at the bench and say, "Hey, we could do this, we could do that"?
Yeah, it's hard in real time, Sal, because if there's a play called and then I say to myself, right there in that scenario, then you're going to get low on the play clock. So it's got to be better communication from me. I'm saying Kevin did a great job, especially in that first half. I just need to do a better job there in the second half. Everything that is on that field has my name on it, not nobody else. So I had to do a better job there. And so it's tough in real time, Sal. It's got to be something that's done a little bit more by me in between series. And that's always a challenge because you're managing the game, you're looking at different things, you're trying to make sure you're looking at things. But I have to do it. I've done that before, so I need to do a better job in that scenario.
If this is the last time the starters play before the playoffs, how do you feel about the team going into the playoffs?
Yeah, you got to feel pretty good, right? I mean, three game winning streak. I don't care. In this league, 3-game winning streaks are hard. Winning 11 games is hard. Winning the division is hard. And so you feel really good about some of the things, but there's also an opportunity to self-scout yourself and do some different things there. We'll see. We'll see what we do this upcoming week. I think there's still an opportunity for us to get the 2 seed. But I thought it was really important that we played in this particular game. Fortunately, we got through this. I think I haven't talked to the doctors yet, but fortunately, we got through this with some. I know there'll be some bumps and bruises, but we got through what we needed to get through, and you feel really good. Again, you got to, before you guys came in, I was talking, you got to give yourself points for wins. I don't care how ugly it is, how pretty it is. You got to come out of games and say, man, it's hard to win a road football game in the NFL against this caliber of a football team with that type of quarterback. And man, I think about the players that they have. Milano's a really good player. Russo's a great player. Joey Bosa, I've seen firsthand of all the things that he can do. White has done such a good job in this league. Poyer, all those guys have done. There's a reason this team has been so successful. Coach McDermott, their offense. I know I just talked about their defense. Dawkins, Allen, Cook, Shakir, all those guys. This is a good football team. And anytime you come out in a game like this and come away with a win, I said to the guys, I don't care if it's 48-47. I don't care if it's 13-12. I don't care if it's 1-0. I know you can't. Yeah, I know it can't be 1-0. I got that. I don't care if it's 2-0. You got to give yourself points for wins, and then you got to be, and I think you've seen that, and then you got to be super critical of yourself and super critical of how you get better from this. And I think I think I know we'll do that, and I know our guys will do that. I know our coaches will do that. I know for sure I'll do that.
All right,
Thanks everybody.
As we have done that of this Eagles team tonight, you got to give yourself points for wins. I don't care how ugly it is, says Nick Sirianni. Here's our official review presented by AAA. Nick Sirianni, season by season. And it really is insane. The record he has piled up: 9-8, 14-3, 11-6, 14-3, and a Super Bowl title, 11-5, and that championship still dangles out there. And if they repeat, they would be the first Philadelphia team to repeat since the 48-49 Eagles. And those Sixers team has done two in a row, to my knowledge. The Flyers did in 73, 74, 74, 75. And the Phillies have not repeated. So that's saying something in a town.
Philadelphia Athletics in the early 1900s.
They're out of here.
They repeated a couple of times.
They did. That was a guy by the name of Connie Mack who was a pretty good manager, but that was in the 30s. You were just a kid then. Come on.
I was covering the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets.
I was on that beat, too. We'll take a quick break. We've got more interviews and analysis from the gentleman right here as we continue. Eagles win! By Bradford White water heaters, items that Reuben thought would make a difference tonight. Number one, handle the elements.
I thought the Eagles did a better job handling the elements than the Bills did. It was that simple. They got the turnover. They had 2 fumbles. They recovered 1. But to have no turnovers in a game in those conditions, I think is huge.
And then hold your breath while Jake Elliott kicks. We did, and we caught our breath as well, as Elliott was 2 for 2 with a 47-yarder, 1 for 1.
That's a good kick. A 47-yarder in that slop is that gives you some confidence. That was big.
Down the middle as well.
Which goes back to Nick Sirianni, because we think that all the rah-rah stuff is lost on professional players, but he says that he was not going to give up on Jake Elliott, that guy was important to the success of the team. He knew he would get it back. So far, 1 game after he said it, not too shabby. And then secondly, he talked about giving yourself points for tough losses, points where you very well might have lost the game, that you got to walk off that field and pat yourself on the back, even though you know if Josh Allen makes that pass, you're toast.
Well,
you got to say, great job, Barrett. Great job,
You heard what Jalen Hurts said.
Barrett.
You missed that block, but it's okay.
Right. Jalen Hurts said, hey, after you look at it, after that, flush it and move on. And that's exactly what it is. You have a short-term memory. Go in, look at the film, and then go from there. And it's just like with a win also. You're no longer that team that just won. You're a team on your way to the next game. And that's the way they got to approach this thing. So I like the mindset that they have, going into this game, this next game they're going into. So
Dick Vermeer used to call it the 24-hour rule.
Yep.
You probably heard it common brew many times from the coach. 24 hours. 24 hours after that game, gone. Wash it's kind of the word right now, but the 24-hour rule is it's over with. Move on.
I thought A.J. Brown did a good job in that first half, catching the ball, contested catches in the rain.
Yeah.
A lot of the offensive success was predicated on him and how well he played, and I thought we got the win because of his first half play. He didn't get the targets or the chances in the second half, and maybe that's why the offense sputtered, but his job, a great job by him in the first half.
5 catches, 68 yards, 13.6 yards per catch with a long reception to 27. Here's Jalen Hurts post-game in Orchard Park.
John, overall thoughts on getting a tough win on the road?
It's a big-time win. A competitive game, hell of a performance by the defense and how they played and how they were able to find a way to gut that out and make plays when we needed it the most. It's a really good opponent over there. Tons of respect for him, but I just think for us to come out here and play with good mentality overall, obviously having clinched and having the opportunity to go play in the tournament, having that already sealed. This game wasn't about anything more than just going out here and playing and playing with mentality. So glad to find a win.
What do you make of the disparity offensively from the first half to the second half?
I think we got into a good rhythm and good groove. We're able to move the ball down the field in the first half and in the second half, there are a lot of things that I have to watch the tape on to be able to pinpoint. Obviously, maintaining aggression is one thing, and maintaining rhythmic ball play, then just going out there and executing ultimately. So you always look yourselves in the mirror with that.
Your coach talked about the winning the turnover battle, and there seems to be a discipline to this offense in maintaining that. Maybe it was conservative to not turn the ball over. Not turn the ball over. Your record is outrageous over the last 5 years. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I don't think it's a conservative thing to have good ball security and be mindful that the turnover margin directly correlates with winning. That's a truth. That's the truth of the game, and that's a well-known fact of what we've been able to do and how we've been able to play over the last 5 years collectively. So it's an important thing, and obviously every team is different. So for us, that is an important thing, and then being able to stay on rhythm, stay in good sequencing, and go out there and move the ball down the field, is important too. And that's something we're continuing to grow in. And I think as I look at it, I have to watch the film to dig into anything else other than that. But specifically, as good as we've been in the red zone, and then to get to the red zone and have opportunities to score and not, or, Jake, definitely showed up and made some big-time kicks. So a lot of credit to him on those, putting some points on the board. But obviously, anytime we get in the red zone, you take pride in scoring.
Where do you see where the offense is, right now, heading into the playoffs, starting up in less than 2
We still got one more game.
Yeah. But, are you pretty confident where the offense is, heading?
Yeah, very confident.
And what makes you so, that?
The guys that we have and everything that we know we're capable of and the things that we can control.
When you see the defense playing at this level, how does that influence your decision making?
I go out there and play the game. I just go out there and play the game. Obviously, it's, when I speak towards every team being different, the flow of the game is different. And there are things that you're mindful of as a quarterback, but there are also things that you're coached not to worry about because Coach Sirianni is going to go out there and manage the game as he sees fit. And so I'm always remaining coachable in those things and doing as I'm told and as I've said, trying to do whatever it takes to win while being mindful of all of those things.
You said you still have one more game. Are you viewing it like you'll play next week? Or are you viewing it like this is the last time you'll play before the postseason?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you're viewing.
Absolutely, yes. Looking forward to the opportunity. Obviously, it's above my control. I think you asked me something similar to that. Yeah. It's my approach.
You look at this offense getting 13 points. You go into halftime, you have that little lead. How much do you have the confidence with this defense that that's going to be enough when you give them a little cushion like that in the second half?
I think competitively, you don't think of it that way. I think competitively, as a unit on offense, you want to go out there and try and end things on your terms. And I feel like that's been something that I've talked about in spurts. We've had opportunities to finish games, with the ball in our hands, and then we've had opportunities where we haven't. And today was a game where we didn't finish the way we would have liked to finish, regardless of how the flow of the game goes. When you have an opportunity to close it, whether it's for a victory, whether it's for a, kind of 4-minute mode, you want to do that. And so that's something that we'll all learn from and, take the coaching as we go.
With that mindset.
Jalen Hurts and his chapeau looking really good, even if the offense struggled in the second half. And he said, look, I'm confident where the offense is, very confident. Why? Guys we have, everything we know, the things we're capable of, and the things we can control. We got much more coming at you on Postgame Live.